Guys, it's Manga Time once again. I'm here to bring you my review of Bleach 613, The Ordinary Peace. This is like the shortest chapter I think we've ever had in Bleach. Generally, Bleach chapters are about 17 pages. This week's was about 14, so that kind of sucks. I think it's attributed to the fact that Kubo's still quite ill though, so he's hoping he gets better soon. Having said that, the content we do get is actually not too bad, but again, there's not a lot of it, so this review probably won't be too long. So it starts off where it was the end of last week, with Ichibei basically going, I'm really sorry, you can't defeat Yhwach. But then he says something that's super weird, and in my opinion, it's like, there's been a lot of speculation that Royal Guard might be evil or might turn evil, and this is really like, in my opinion, this could definitely be that. He basically says, you know, I'm sorry, you can't defeat Yhwach, but then that's what peace is. So, and then you get his eye, and he's like, and he says, right, and it's like all shaded, looks uber sinister, and he says, you know, Yhwach. So what do I think this means? Well, Ichibei has sent them to Yhwach, knowing full well they can't win. Now, at first, Ichibei basically said, you know, you just have to stop him. But now that they're out of earshot, he says, you know, the fact you can't win, that's what peace is. That could mean a couple of things, in my opinion. Firstly, I think it could mean that Ichibei knows they've lost, so he's offering Ichigo as basically a sacrifice to Yhwach to keep the peace. He knows that if Yhwach now takes the Spirit King's throne, the fight will be over, and that'll be peace. You know, if Ichigo loses to Yhwach, there doesn't have to be any more fighting, and that's peace. So I definitely think Ichibei is, you know, uber shady right now. I think he's pretty much given up on the fact that Ichigo could win. Either he's given up, or he never was on board in the first place, and he actually is a villain. And I tell you what, I'd be mega down for that. The only thing that kind of throws a spanner into that is, you know, if he was evil, then why did he fight Yhwach? He'd just let him pass. So I'm not too sure about that, but I can definitely kind of get on board with Ichibei kind of giving up and then, you know, turning evil as a result of that, or something like that. So that I could definitely get down with. But then we move again away from the Royal Realm, which is a little bit annoying, to go back to the Soul Society, and we see that, you know, everyone's finished in the infirmary, and Ukitake steps out, which is kind of awesome. Still no word on the Kamikake, which is a bit annoying, but he's like, you know, I've completed the medical treatment, and then Shinji's like, what the hell? You're the one who needs treatment. What are you doing? Basically, Ukitake gives us this spiel about, you know, because he's so ill all the time, he knows how to heal people, essentially. So apparently Ukitake is some super healer. But literally everyone is okay now. You know, Hisagi, Ikaku, Yumichika, Isane's there, which is kind of cool, because we had no word on Isane. Hinataro's there, again, which is kind of cool. And Ukitake says that the only one who can't move yet is Kenpachi, which makes sense, but then all of a sudden Kenpachi's like, what are you talking about? I'm basically fine, and he kind of steps out of the infirmary as well. So this is quite neat. I'm kind of okay with the fact that all these characters are coming back. It does mean that Hisagi's going to get another chance to show off his Bankai, which is cool. And it means that hopefully a lot of these characters are going to have like one final fight before the series ends. But before we can talk about any of that, really, Kenpachi has a bone to pick with Urahara. He basically, you know, he's like, where's Yachiru? And I like this because we've had no word about the Yachiru situation for ages, and it's good to see that it hasn't been completely forgotten. And Urahara kind of tries to brush it under the rug. He's like, oh, you know, all of the 11th squad are looking for her, but, you know, don't worry about it. Kenpachi doesn't take any of that crap, however, and he decides to try and leave. As he tries to leave, Urahara basically fires this Kido in front of him that creates bars of Reishi, which is clearly pretty powerful because Kenpachi seems to think he can't get out of it. So yeah, Kenpachi's locked in, and he's like, what the hell are you doing? And Urahara's like, you know, sorry, but I told you need to stay here. And we get this really tense confrontation, which is really cool, actually, and Kenpachi seems to turn around to confront Urahara. And Nanao gets in the way, and he's like, what are you doing? Get out of the way. And Nanao really steps up, actually, as, you know, the vice captain of the 1st Division. She really shows that she has kind of leadership material, because she basically, like, Kenpachi, you know, this isn't the time for this. You have your entire squad out there searching. It's going to be faster for them to do it than you, and you're a captain, so you have duties to be doing. And so basically, you know, she's like, we must focus on what we have to do as individuals. And everyone kind of looks at her like, you're talking down to Kenpachi, like he's literally just going to smash you. But Kenpachi's just kind of like, after a little while, he basically goes, yeah, okay, fine, you know, you're right, and he walks off. And so Urahara's like, whoa, that was close. So Urahara's like, okay, time for everyone to go. And so literally everyone is going to the Royal Realm, which I think is kind of weird. But again, I'll get into that in a little second. Urahara says that he's going to give everyone these orbs, and then I think they're the same orbs that we saw in the Soul Society arc with Kukaku. And they're all going to pour their Reiatsu into them, and presumably use that to fire themselves up into the Royal Palace, that we don't really know. We see, like, Urahara tells everyone to get inside the ring. Omaida gets in there. I mean, like, this is the sort of thing I'm going to talk about in a second. But basically, yeah, Urahara says, I'm going to ask you to fill the orbs with Reiatsu, open the ceiling, and we're going to fly out, basically, is what's going to happen. But, like, it's a bit weird to me. Like, why the hell are the vice captains going to the Royal Palace? What on earth does Omaida think he can do? The only reason I can think of is they need as much power as they can possibly get to get there in the first place. So when they get there, they might not do much in terms of the lieutenants. But it could be a good chance to finally see Nanao, Shikai, Isagi's Bankai, like I said before. Ikkaku might use his Bankai again at last. There is a lot of potential here for these side characters to actually do something. Shinji's going up, here's a Bankai. Ukitake's going up, another Bankai. But yeah, we don't really get to see any more of that, I'm afraid, because we go back to the Royal Palace now, and we see Yhwach, and he's still standing in front of the Soul King, and suddenly Ichigo and the others arrive behind him. And I'm sitting here thinking, this is happening quite fast. Like, this can't be it, you know, this can't be the final fight. I don't think this is the final fight. As as Yhwach turns around, he then curses Osho. He basically says to himself, "You damn monk." And that's weird. Like, I want to know what he's on about, because it's possible that Yhwach, like, because I still don't think Yhwach and Ichibei are in cahoots necessarily, but Yhwach's like maybe saying "you damn monk" because he was basically hoping Ichibei would tell Ichigo not to come or something like that. I can't really understand otherwise why, because Yhwach clearly thinks he can defeat Ichigo, or at least he thinks he can stop him. So Yhwach turns around in front of the Soul King's capsule, and he says some kind of cool lines. At least for the moment, they don't really mean anything. They're just a bit fluff. But he says, you're going to be crushed on the gears of fate. I'm going to be the one to bury you, basically. And that's the end of the chapter. Ichigo looks on quite sternly, but he doesn't actually say anything. So it was an interesting chapter overall, albeit very, very short. Again, hope Kubo gets well. The content that we got was quite interesting. I think it's going to be quite divisive between fans, because people are going to be like, nothing happened again, because the progress has been quite slow over the last few chapters. But at the same time, like, we got some very nice interactions between the Soul Society. This was the first time I think that Urahara has spoken to Kenpachi on panel, which is kind of cool. And obviously the whole Nanao stepping up was nice. Kenpachi looking for Yachiru was nice. Just some nice character moments overall. The Royal Realm sections were unfortunately a bit sparse, and like the cliffhanger didn't really mean much. Like, I don't think Ichigo and Yhwach are going to have their final fight yet. It's just not going to happen. If anything, I feel like the Elite Guard are going to ambush them, because they've literally vanished, and so have Uryu and Hashwolf, which is really weird. So I think they're probably going to get ambushed, which would be cool. I'd be really cool. I'd be happy to see that. But yeah, other than that, guys, not an awful lot happened in this week's chapter. Let me know in the comments below what you thought this week's chapter. I'm going to drop a 7 on it, just because, again, the content is being spread quite thinly, and this week there's just barely 8 pages at all. I'm going to attribute most of it to Kubo being ill, but hopefully he gets better and the game starts picking up a bit soon. But until next time, guys, please subscribe to my videos. That'd be awesome. And again, please subscribe to my new channel. To all you guys who've subscribed, thank you so much for your support. I'm sorry I haven't uploaded a video because I've just been swamped with exams and stuff like that. But hopefully next week I'm going to start properly rolling out the content. So yeah, that'd be really great if you could check it out. But yeah, hit the subscribe button here, guys, and give me a like. That'd be awesome. But until next time, guys, see you next week.